Hello students, I am Dr. Sangeeta Singh from JDB Government Girls College Kota. I am going to teach you General English for BSc Part 1. Hello students, today we are going to study the fourth part of our second story, Barenboimig's ailment. In the last video, we had reached up to the point of the story where Barin begins to recall this incident when he stole away Pulak Chakravarti's Swiss clock. He clearly remembers how the train suddenly stopped in the middle of their last journey together and he got a chance to steal the clock of Pulak Chakravarti when he went down from the train. Now I will read out the text slides which I have cut out for you and then explain them in brief. Dear students, I begin from where we had ended in the last video. Just about 3 minutes before the train was to reach Patna, it suddenly screeched to a halt. What could be the reason? There were a few people with torches running about on tracks. Was it anything serious? In the end, the guard turned up and said that an old man had been run over by the engine while crossing the track. The train would start as soon as his body was removed. She got very excited at this news and clambered down quickly in the dark, still clad in his sleeping suit. Then he went out to see for himself what had happened. It was during this brief absence that Barin had removed the clock from C's bag. He had seen C wind it the night before and had felt tempted immediately. But since the chances of finding a... So here in this first slide, we see Pulak Chakravarti, whom the author is calling C, because at this time Barin can't remember his full name. Pulak Chakravarti is coming down from the train. I will read from the middle of the third line in the next slide because the first 2.5 lines are from this slide only. They are overlapping. Next slide. I start from, but since the chances of finding a suitable opportunity were dim, he had told himself to forget the whole thing. But when an opportunity presented itself so unexpectedly, Barin simply could not stop himself, even at the... In this slide, we see that Barin's illness forces him to steal Pulak Chakravarti's Swiss clock. He even took the risk of being seen by the other passengers while stealing. Next slide. Risk of being seen by the other passengers lying on the upper berth. He had slipped his hand into C's bag and had taken the clock out. Then he had dropped it into his own case. It took him between 15 and 20 seconds to do this. C had returned about 5 minutes later. A horrible business. Beggar, you see. The head's been totally severed from the body. I fail to see how an engine can possibly hit somebody despite having a cow catcher. Isn't it supposed to push aside all obstacles on the track? Barin got off safely at Patna and was met by his uncle. The faint uneasiness in the pit of his stomach vanished the instant he got. The author is hinting here at Barin's ailment to find an opportunity to steal. Here we see that Barin doesn't mind the risk of being noticed by the passengers sleeping on the upper berths. She describes the accidental death of a beggar by the train and Barin had returned Patna. Next slide. Into his uncle's car and drove off. His heart told him that that was the end of the story. No one could catch him now. The chances of running into sea were 1 in a million, or perhaps even less than that. But who knew that one day, years later, by such an incredible coincidence, they would meet again? A thing like this is enough to make one turn superstitious, thought Barin to himself. Do you live in Delhi or Calcutta? Asked she. He had asked him a lot of questions the last time as well. Barin recalled he hated people who tried to act friendly. Calcutta, said Barin. Oh no, he had spoken in his normal voice. He really must be more careful. In the flashback, we see that Barin was almost assured that he was safe and he won't be caught, but by very unexpected coincidence, they met once again in a train. In this very slide, we see here that she starts the conversation and the flashback ends. Next slide. Good God! Why was the man staring so hard at him? What could be the reason for such interest? Barin's pulse began beating faster again. Did your photograph come out in the papers recently? Barin realized it would be foolish not to tell the truth. There were other Bengali passengers on the train who might recognize him. There was no harm in telling this man who he was. In fact, if he could be told that Barin was a famous singer, he might find it difficult to relate him to the thief who had once stolen his clock. Where did you see this photograph? Barin threw a counter question. In this slide, we see Barin cross-examining himself about telling his identity to Pulak Chakravarti, and he even cross-examines Pulak Chakravarti. Next slide. Do you sing? Came another one. Yes, a little. Your name? Barindranath Bhaumik. Oh, I see. Barin Bhaumik. That's why you seemed familiar. You sing on the radio, don't you? Yes. My wife is an admirer of yours. Are you going to Delhi to sing at some function? Yes. Barin was not going to tell him much. If a simple yes or no could suffice, there was no need to say anything else. I know a Bhaumik in Delhi. Here he is in the finance ministry. Nitish Bhaumik. Is he a relative or something? Indeed, Nitish was Barin's first cousin. A man well known for his rigid discipline, a close relative, but not one close to Barin personally. No, I am afraid I don't know him. Barin decided to tell this one lie. He wished the man would stop talking. Why did he want to know so many things? Oh good, lunch had arrived. Hopefully, the volley of questions would cease, at least for a little while. So, in these two slides, they talk about Barin's identity, but Barin decides not to disclose much details. It was good that lunch had arrived. Barin was in relief that she will not ask much questions now. Next slide. And so it did. She was obviously one who enjoyed eating. He began to concentrate on his food and fell silent. Barin no longer felt all that nervous, but still he could not relax completely. They would have to spend at least another 20 hours in each other's company. Memory was such a strange phenomenon. Who could tell what little thing, a gesture, a look, a word, might make some old and forgotten memory come to life? Black tea, for instance. Barin believed that if those two words had not been uttered, he would never have recognized she. What if something he said or something he did made she recognize him? The best thing, of course, would be not to say or do anything at all. In this slide, we see that during the lunch, while she was enjoying eating, Barin was deciding not to say or do anything at all because any action or words could bring last journey's memory to C's mind, and Barin was afraid of this situation. Now it's time for questions and answers. The first question is: at the time of journey, where had Barin put the clock which he had stolen? Answer: into his own case. Question number 2. Why did Barin like C's eating habit? Answer: because Barin also got some tasty snacks from C. Question number 3. When did Barin steal C's clock? Answer: when C got down from the train for 5 minutes. Question number 4. What approximate time did Barin take to steal the clock? Answer: between 15 and 20 seconds. Next slide. Question number 5. Why did Barin think it safe to disclose his identity as a singer? Answer: because a famous singer like Barin could hardly be related to a thief if she thought about it. Question number 6. What was the full name of Barin? Answer: Barindranath Bhaumik. Question number 7. Why did Barin wish that she should stop talking? Answer: talking to C was dangerous as it may disclose Barin's theft. Question number 8. Why did Barin want to talk least to C? I repeat, why did Barin want to talk least to C? Answer: it may bring the recognition of Barin and memory related to theft. So here this session ends, and at another session we will be meeting again for this chapter only, because this is a lengthy chapter. So I end this video here, and we will start from the next slot once again. Thanks.